welcome back to the land of tubes. That's not a place where we review tubes. It's a tube that's designed specifically for you. What I want to discuss today is superstitions. There's got to be some kind of music for this. I knew there was. Anyway, superstitions, and what got me thinking about this was basically I was on the London Underground a few weeks back. It was raining. Because it's London, it always rains. It's part of the makeup of our lovely city, even though I'm now in the burbs. So I was down on the platform, minding my own business. Not that anything happened to me, but I was minding my own business, because that's what we do on the London Underground. We just ignore everyone. No one exists but us and our own little space. This woman came down. It had been raining, as I said. Her umbrella was wet, so she thought she'd open it to just flick the water off, which is a sensible thing to do, because that means the train doesn't get wet when everyone goes on it. But when she opened this umbrella, the faces around her were a picture. People's jaws dropped to the floor. It was like she was instantly doomed because she opened an umbrella technically indoors. I mean, people were looking at her like she had just signed her own death warrant. Like she was going down that day. It's the end. She's doomed. I mean, even to the point where a couple of them didn't even get onto the same train. They were that scared that the train was going to derail, get taken up by aliens. I don't actually know what they were thinking. But I found this really, really bizarre that people still have these crazy superstitions. I mean, the only one I really have, but it's not a superstition, is don't walk under a ladder. It's classed as a superstition, but I think it's just general safety. Because if you don't walk under it, no idiot can drop something on your head then, can they? So that's sensible. Not a superstition, it's just health and safety. And this reminded me of a guy I used to know, and my memory was partly jogged by a couple of forums that said when I get on my bike sometimes I get on from the right hand side, which I don't see a problem with, but some people find it a bit weird that I get on from that side if I need to. I mean, I do have the beauty of I've got quite long legs and I'm quite tall, so I can just step over. I don't have to struggle that much, so that might be a reason. And I've heard that back in the day you're supposed to get on your horse from the left hand side. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. Anyway, bringing myself back to the motorcycles. My friend, he would only ever get off from the left hand side, never from the right. He said it would bring him bad luck, and I've never seen him get off the right hand side. He was tall enough, but he never got off the right, always the left. I mean, to the point where he'd wait for a petrol pump on the right hand side so he wouldn't be forced to get off that side. He'd wait in a queue of cars, even if one was free, which we all found strange when we went out riding, but each to their own. But when we used to go to events, out for a drink, out for a coffee, that sort of thing, we'd park up in the car park, and we got to the point where we'd let him park first, and then what we'd do is we'd pull up as close to the left hand side of his bike as physically possible. Therefore he couldn't get off, and he would go mad. He'd either sort of like pedal his bike backwards and find a different space further away, or sometimes what he'd do if he couldn't be bothered was he would actually climb over all of our bikes. I think about 5's his record, and he would climb over every single bike to get off the furthest bike on the left, because that's the left hand side. If he got off in the middle, we would tell him he's technically getting off on the right hand side of the bike he wasn't even on. And for some reason he took this on board and would always climb to the furthest bike on the left. Once he even climbed over two people's bikes that he didn't even know because they were on the end of our bikes. So my question to you guys is, do you know of anyone, or do you yourselves have crazy superstitions? I don't mean the breaking of the mirror, the 7 years bad luck, that sort of thing, cracks in the pavement. That's quite a general one. I mean a crazy one. Like you won't look a spider in the eye because you've been told your fingers fall off. Or something crazy like that. I mean, I've only got one thing I fear, and that's not really a superstition. It's more of a life skill, and that is, don't sit in a lion's cage with stakes stapled to you. There you go. That's my tip of the day. Until next time, I love you all.